need for all the institutions and individuals, both we need to adopt these sustainable practices for for a climate positive world. And for this, we need to create a community of conscious citizens for a collective action towards the sustainability goals. Sustainability is no more about doing less harm, but rather it is about doing more good. We need to incorporate climate actions programs and be on our way to a zero carbon future. In IGNOU, we strive to open roads to new initiatives and opportunities to save the planet, and that is where our NCIG is working towards motivating our learners to find new ways, not only in saving the environment but also in other areas also. And I must also take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Sharma on getting the best divisions award in the recently Foundation Day of IGNOU. So together we all strive to have new opportunities for learners to save the planet and develop and expand our dedication to sustainability. We would like to have we would like to have our learners and people associated with IGNOU to be green yodhas and to work as much as we can to preserve and save the environment. And not only this, we have also several programs in order for our learners, like the MSc in Environmental Sciences, right from the certificate in Environmental Sciences, postgraduate diploma, and even the postgraduate diploma in Sustainability Sciences. So, we welcome all of you, and without taking much time, I would like to invite Professor Sharma to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mamta Bhatia ji and Dr. Indu Ravi ji. I also welcome you all for this very important webinar on a very important topic related to our lives, our Earth planet, and basically this is a topic where we need all of us need to ponder upon. This topic is not only the matter of discussion on environmental pollution, but this is a very serious issue for all of us. We should be aware of these all things, and not only being aware, we should think of some innovative solutions also, innovative ways how we can minimize the impact of this pollution on our environment and on our health and entire earth. So that way, this topic is discussion is going to be very important for all of us. And as you rightly mentioned, this day, basically on 2nd December, that reminds us how vigilant and how cautious we should be about using these all man-made things like methyl isocyanate or any other thing which can be harmful, and what kind of preventive measures we should take, and how that incident had basically damaged the entire environment and the lives of many people. That reminds us of all of us for that, and also gives us a lesson what kind of life we should live in future, what kind of the planet we should leave for our generations to come. So these all things are very important, and because this program is being organized by the Regional Center Jaipur in collaboration with the National Center for Innovation and Distance Education. So here I would like to highlight our one of the main objective of all such programs is not only to create awareness about those issues and problems and challenges, but also to find innovative solutions. How our students, how our faculty, staff, and others, they can find better ways to protect our environment, to make it better for ourselves and also for the generations to come. So we should look into this angle also, how innovatively we are thinking to make our environment that, useful and then protective from all these harmful things. So think for these all things, and we are really thankful to Dr. Ashish Tambi ji that he could spare time to address our students and faculty on this topic, and then I hope he will be deliberating up not only on the challenges and problems, or also will try to facilitate or guide our students what kind of innovative measures can be taken of, what kind of innovations our students can do. So without taking much time, I think it is good to listen to our speaker. So thank you very much to all of you for joining today, and let us listen to our expert today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Uh, I now invite Dr. Ashish Tambi to give the lecture on environmental pollution prevention and control. Uh, Before sir addresses the participants, I would like to inform Dr. Ashish Tambi. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Environmental Science, IIS, deemed to be University Jaipur. He has done his MTech and PhD in environmental engineering from Malviya MNIT, Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur. Dr. Tambi has more than 9 years of research and teaching in the area of environmental science. He has published research papers in national and international journals, and he is also a member of professional and academic bodies. And Dr. Tambi has uh, developed a low-cost field test kit for detection and enumeration of coliforms in water, which was a major research project sanctioned by Water and Sanitation Support (PHED) Government of Rajasthan. So, Dr. Tambi, I would request you to please join and give your lecture.
Thank you, Ravi ma'am. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you. I would first like to thank Dr. O.P. Sharma, Dr. Indu Ravi, and Dr. Mamta Bhatia for giving me this opportunity to talk on this very important issue, environmental pollution prevention and control. So without taking much time, let us begin. So since it is a very wide topic, environmental pollution and control, I will be focusing in a very brief manner so as to give you an insight what is pollution, what kind of pollution are we are facing today in our day-to-day life, and what are some of the innovative ways by which we can deal with such kind of pollution problems. So just a moment, let me share my presentation.
You may please start, Dr. Ashish.
Yes, ma'am. Just a moment. Okay. So let us begin with our talk today. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Next, please. Indaman, please change it. Next.
Yes, sir. Any problem?
Next.
Next, okay.
Okay. So as Indu ma'am have told that we all are gathered here today to celebrate the National Pollution Prevention Day, which is observed on 2nd of December every year in India after the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, which was one of the tragic incidents that have occurred in India in the year 1984. So in order, this day is observed in the memory of the people who lost their lives on such day, where the incident which occurred on the night of 2nd of December 1984, leading to deaths of thousands of persons and even affecting the persons continuously over a very long period of time. Yeah. So Bhopal Gas Tragedy, let me just give you an insight. What was this tragedy and how it occurred? So this tragedy, which is considered as world's worst industrial disaster, it was occurred as a pesticide plant named as Union Carbide India Limited, which was located in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. And on the night of 2nd of December, there was a pressure rise in one of the tank in which a very poisonous gas, methyl isocyanate, was stored, and leading to a leakage of around 45 tons of MIC from the plant on that particular day. So this MIC along with phosgene is used for synthesis of pesticides, and due to leakage of this poisonous gas, approximately 5 lakh people were exposed to this poisonous gas and other chemicals that were being released during this tragedy, leading to, as per government figures, it leads to death of about 3,787 people all around the Bhopal. And not only people, but also the livestock animals nearby the plant also suffered a lot of problems. Even 2,000 livestock animals were killed on that day. So this tragedy which occurred in Bhopal uh, leads to or shake the entire world, not only in India, but also the world. And it basically demands us to take preventive measures at a very early step. And even strict government policies must be designed, and act have to be strictly followed to take care of such kind of industrial disasters. And on the memory of this, the people who have lost their lives on that particular day, every year on 2nd of December, we celebrate this date, National Pollution Prevention Day. Next, please. Now, so what are the objectives? Why this day is being celebrated? So there are three major objectives of celebrating this particular day. First, to create awareness on managing and controlling such industrial disasters. It is not one of the first ever disaster that have occurred. In previous times also many industrial disasters have occurred, like Chernobyl nuclear power plant disasters. So there is a great need or demand to spread awareness that how should we tackle such kind of tragedies, what steps can be taken. Second of the one of the objective of this celebration of this particular day is to prevent the pollution, especially by the industrial processes and the other human activities, the pressure that we are creating on an environment. So that was the second objective. And next objective is to create awareness about the importance of various acts, to create awareness about the various policies, the rules that government has set up, and the actions, the strict actions that government is now taking to control or for the abatement of such kind of pollution problems. See, awareness is one thing which can only effectively control the pollution. Just only the industries will not take care of abatement of pollution activities. We should not only rely on the government also, but being a citizen of this country, being a part of this world, even every citizen must take the necessary steps, the possible actions to control such kind of pollution problems. So awareness creation is the most important aspect of dealing with any kind of problem, not only pollution, but if any kind of ecological problem that we are facing today in our day-to-day life. For this, we need to create much more awareness. So that's why we are this important webinar have also been organized for by the IGNOU Center. Next, please. So now, I have just given you the idea about why we are celebrating this day, what is this webinar is all about. Now let us talk, beginning with the pollution. What is pollution? So pollution means introduction or either release of any kind of substance, be it a physical substance, a biological substance, or a chemical substance, which is released in the outside environment, which is causing any kind of negative or harmful or poisonous effects on not only human beings, but also on the different abiotic components, or also on the plants as well as on the animals, anything which is causing harmful effect. So pollution, we can say it is also we can consider it like an accelerated natural process. It's not like pollution had never occurred in the past. Pollution is occurring, pollution is a natural phenomenon, like just like volcanic eruption is there, the release of gases will take place. No part of this world is pollution free. Theoretically, we cannot consider it to be a pollution free area. Pollution will be there, but what is happening at present is that we are enhancing this phenomenon, we are accelerating this phenomenon by our own greed, by our own actions, and with increase in the industrial revolution process. We can also consider pollution like it is a society excess output in the environment, excess anything which is causing deleterious, harmful effect on the different components of our environment. We can also consider pollution as a symptom of ecological crisis. Just like whenever we suffered from any kind of infection, the first ever symptom that we face is the fever. Like if we are having fever, fever is not a disease. Fever is just a symptom that you are suffering from some kind of infection. So just like that, pollution is a natural phenomenon, but this pollution, if it is occurring in an enhanced way, if it is occurring in an accelerated way, it denotes that it's a symptom that our ecosystems are under threat, our environment is under threat, and we need to take appropriate action as early as possible to deal with such kind of ecological crisis. And in mathematical terms, if I say, we can consider pollution, we can derive or express the pollution in the form of an equation that pollution is equals to population into consumption. It means it states that there are two important things regarding pollution. One, it depends upon the number of persons. The population is rising day by day. We are on the second number in the world in terms of population. So this increase in the population will have a severe impact on our natural resources. It will create, it is leading to a burden on our natural resources, due to which the industries or the vast expansion of transportation activities are there. And second is the consumption, the total resources that we are consuming for our day-to-day activities. So these two parameters, how consumption is increasing, everything that we are using, like for example, we are using any particular natural resource, one day it will be converted into a waste form. So more the resources that we will be using, the more burden we will be creating on our environment, and more amount of waste, more amount of pollutants will be emitted in the atmosphere. So population, the number of individuals, as well as the rate of consumption, the rate of extraction of natural resources are two important parameters that will decide that how much pollution will be occurring in a particular area on our environment. Next, please. Now, so let us see in brief what are the different types and sources of pollution. So if we want to classify the types of pollution, we can done it in two ways. One, the area where it is occurring, like for example, if it is occurring in our atmosphere, we termed it as air pollution. If it is occurring in a hydrosphere, the water bodies part, we call it as water pollution. If it is deteriorating the land or the soil environment, we consider it as a soil pollution. But there are other ways also to classify the pollution. It is on the basis of the agent that is causing pollution. Like for example, noise which is being emitted in the outside environment. Noise is a physical parameter, that is physical kind of pollutant that is causing pollution. Similarly, we can have thermal pollution, the excessive discharge of heat in the water bodies, especially from the industries, from the thermal power plants. We can also have nuclear or radioactive pollution, that is due to discharge of radioactive substances. So this is how we can classify. Even apart from these major types of pollution, light pollution is one such phenomenon on which now the focus is there, and we need to take appropriate action to protect the harmful effects of light pollution. So if I talk about air pollution, we have multiple sources. Everyone know about these kind of sources. They are common ones. The major impact of air pollution, the major sources of air pollution that is leading to change in the physical, chemical, and biological properties or characteristics of our air are the thermal power plants, the transportation activities, agricultural activities. Now you might wonder how agricultural activities can cause air pollution, because during agricultural activities, with the enhanced use of irrigation or waterlogging problems, with the burning of the biomass or the remains of the agricultural fields, we are creating a lot of air pollution. Then mining activities, extraction of ores, not only leading to air, but also water and land pollution is also there. Then apart from the anthropogenic sources, the human or man-made sources, there are some natural sources also. As I have told earlier in the previous slide, that pollution is also a natural phenomenon. So volcanic eruption, forest fires, lightning, thunderstorms, they are also some of the important sources that are causing air pollution. But the nature, since these are natural processes, the nature have a tendency to control, to fight with such kind of problems. But we human beings are creating pressure on our nature. We human beings are enhancing this effect, due to which it is very difficult for the nature also to purify itself from such kind of harmful impacts. Similarly, if I talk about water pollution, the major sources include the discharge of untreated sewage. One such problem, which is basically polluting the one of our holiest and most important river of our country, the Ganga. So sewage discharge is one such source. Another sources include industrial effluents, agricultural activities like the discharge of the nutrients, the fertilizers, the pesticides, uh, oil spills. It may be accidental, or it may be, we can say, direct discharge of oil contaminants without any treatment by the industries in the nearby surface water bodies. And also the solid waste disposal without any treatment, the disposal of plastic waste in the water bodies is leading to water pollution. So one such important thing that I would like to focus here on water pollution is that we always think that industry as the culprit ones, industry as the one which is causing pollution. Whenever anybody asks you what is the major source of pollution, we by default we say it is the industry. But here water pollution, if you look at the data, if you look at the resources, the reports, you will see that it is the sewage discharge which is polluting our water bodies much more as compared to the industrial effluents. Then talking about the soil pollution, the major sources include the industrial waste discharge in the form of harmful chemicals, solvents, acids and bases, the use of pesticide and fertilizers, now, just like DDT, which now has been banned, but since it was used during the time of World War II, still it is the remnants are still there in some parts of the soil, leading to the crisis of the various ecosystems. Then discharge of radioactive waste from the industries, from the nuclear power plants without any treatment, and also the mining and the solid waste disposal in the form of open dumping, even landfilling is causing such kind of soil pollution problems. If we talk about the noise pollution, it is mainly being caused from the automobiles, industrial activities, construction and demolition activities, loudspeakers, and even also from the various social and cultural events which are being organized in our day-to-day life. Next, please. Now, beginning with, I will be focusing majorly on the air, water, and noise, air, water, and soil pollution, and will be giving you some insights of the effects of such kind of pollution. So, before I talk about air pollution, I have here mentioned some statistics, some data related to air pollution. We consider air pollution as a silent killer. We can't see it, but we only through the respiratory tract, the pollutants in the form of particulate matter, in the form of gaseous pollutants, they are entering into your body, and you not even know how it is leading to the death of persons, not only the adult ones, but also it is creating a lot of pressure on the lives of our young ones, on our children's. We consider it as a silent killer. As per the data from the World Health Organization, it has been found that 9 out of 10 people in the world is breathing polluted air, and approximately 630 million children under the 5 years old age are being exposed to the air pollution to such a levels that are far below the guidelines prescribed by the WHO. And if I talk in terms of the lethal effects of the air pollution, approximately 6.7 million people die every year due to air pollution problems, and all the deaths that are occurring, 91% of the premature deaths are occurring in the low and middle income countries. We always blame the developed countries, that the developed countries are leading to the much more industrial activities. They are responsible for us. We are developing or low income countries are not responsible, but it's not true. In less developed countries, there are multiple sources that are creating pressure, that are leading to pollution, which is not even easy to control, because we can control if we know the exact source, if we know from where it is entering into the different atmosphere or in the hydrosphere or in the soil environment. There are informal activities going on in the less developed or developing countries, which is very difficult to monitor and difficult to control also. So not only the developed countries, but the developing countries are also creating the same pressure. They are also leading to the same ecological crisis problem due to the various pollution problem or due to the various pollution activities. Next, please. Now, the health effects of the air pollution, we all know that it is causing the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is affecting our lungs. It is in long term, it is causing asthma, it is causing chest pain. But I would like to focus more on the various global air pollution problems. All of you are aware that we all have heard about these terms: global warming, acid rain, photochemical smoke, and even ozone depletion. So these are the four major problems. We call them as global air pollution problems, which is occurring at a larger scale across the world. If I talk about global warming, beginning with global warming, it is also termed as the enhanced greenhouse effect, which is due to the absorption of the infrared radiations being trapped by the various gases in our atmosphere. See, greenhouse effect is not again, it is a natural process. It is essential for the earth to maintain the temperature of this planet. If greenhouse effect was not there, the temperature would be around minus 18 degree. The average global temperature of our earth would be around minus 18 degrees centigrade if global warming, as greenhouse effect is not there. So this greenhouse effect, which was essential, which is due to the absorption of infrared radiations by gases like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, the water vapor. The biggest contributor, biggest natural greenhouse gas is the water vapor, which is absorbing the infrared radiation, even nitrous oxide and ozone. These are few gases which were present in trace quantities in the atmosphere and leading to the natural greenhouse effect and maintaining the temperature. But with the increase in, again, industrial activities, transportation, with the enhanced agricultural practices, we are enhancing the quantity of these gases in the atmosphere, and including the carbon dioxide, including the methane, including nitrous oxide from various activities. That is in long term leading to climate change, leading to melting of glaciers. Glaciers are one of the most important freshwater resource on our planet. Even more than 2% out of the 3% freshwater resource that is available, 2% is locked in the form of polar ice and glaciers. So if the glaciers will keep on melting at a faster rate, the time is nearby that we will not have sufficient water to satisfy our own needs. So similarly, the enhanced global warming, it causes extinction of the wildlife because the climate is getting changed. Forest fires are more common in the few years, and droughts and floods will also be there due to enhanced global warming effect. I would like to focus on some data related to global warming. This, as per the latest data from the NASA, it has been reported that the average surface temperature due to this global warming, due to this enhanced greenhouse effect, the average surface temperature will rise to about 2 to 6 degrees centigrade by the end of this 21st century. Now, you might say that 2-degree rise is not much. We are facing the temperature of about 45, 46, and even up to 48 degrees centigrade in some areas. But here, we are not focusing on the temperature of a particular region. Here, it is the average surface temperature. Even a rise in 0.1 or 0.2 degrees centigrade temperature is sufficient to cause climatic change effects. It is sufficient to cause floods. It is sufficient to cause various natural disasters. So here we are referring that by the end of 21st century, the total rise may be in between 2 to 6 degree. Already by the we have seen a rise of a temperature of about 0.8 degrees centigrade since the end of the 19th century. So 0.8 degree have been increased in the last 1 century. And now by the end, if it will increase by 2 to 6 degree, it will be pretty easy to say that life will not be possible on this one of the most important planet of our planet, that is the Earth. And also, if I talk about floods, according to the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it has been reported that the sea level is going to rise by 52 to 98 centimeter by the end of this century, again leading to disastrous floods. In India also, we are facing in many parts, in Kerala, in Assam, we are facing the flood problems even at present also. But if the sea level will rise by such a high level, then again, it will be very difficult for the human beings to sustain and survive on this planet. Similarly, photochemical smoke, which is being especially is observed in the metro cities, in the areas where the hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides are being excessively released from, especially from the transportation and industrial activities in the atmosphere, causing various harmful health effects, affecting our lungs, affecting our nervous system, in long term causing pulmonary obstructive diseases and even heart attack. Rate of heart attack have also been increased. And one of the reason of with this increased heart attack deaths occurring in India is also the air pollution and the photochemical smoke formation, which is being occurring in our cities. Then acid rain, when we release the sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides from the fossil fuel combustion from the industries, leading to effects on the plants. They are directly damaging the leaves and the barks of the trees. They are reducing the photosynthesis, because plants, they are considered as a major producer. If plants will not be there, the entire food chain will get disrupted. And even drought and extreme cold condition, rise in the pest population problems, the damage to the roots or of the trees, and even the dissolution of toxic metal ions which are there in the soil in the immobilized form will increase. Dissolution of these metallic ions, if it is being discharged to the nearby water bodies, then it can be easily absorbed and get accumulated within the different living organisms and will become a part of our food chain, will be transferred from one trophic level to another. The ozone depletion, the focus on ozone depletion came into existence after the year in the late 20th century, where the main cause of this ozone depletion was found to be the use of one of the deadliest pollutant, that is chlorofluorocarbons, which is not toxic directly to the human beings, but they are very small particles sufficient enough to reach towards the stratosphere, which is around 15 to 20 kilometer up, 20 kilometer height from the surface of Earth, where these CFCs are getting accumulated and are attacking the one of the most important layer, that is ozone layer, which protects us from the ultraviolet radiations. So sunburns, cataract, skin cancer, aging, marine ecosystem disruptions, such kind of problems are increased due to the improper blocking of the ultraviolet B radiations by the ozone. Since ozone is, the thickness of the ozone is getting depleting day by day. But one good news that we have is with the signing of the Kyoto Protocol, so with the signing of the Montreal Protocol, especially for the preventive activities to prevent the ozone depletion, now the rate of ozone depletion is getting control year by year, and still the actions and corrective or preventive steps are taken by government and the industries to control such a major disaster. Next, please. Now, always when we have air pollution in our mind, we only think about, oh, okay, it is causing photochemical smoke, it is causing global warming, acid rain, but we don't know that in our homes also, one of the common phenomenon, that is indoor air pollution. In our homes, in our houses, we have multiple things that are constantly leading to affecting your life, constantly affecting your respiratory system, constantly causing the various health problems. Like, for example, even the indoor air smoking, tobacco smoke, the cigarette smoking, leading to lung cancer, respiratory ailments. From the foundations of our home, from the foundation of our houses, there might be a leakage of, if improper cracks are there, and if your soil is contaminated with radioactive substances like radon, so it will be keep on releasing in small trace quantities, and in long term causes chronic diseases which may lead to lung cancer. Even the styrene, which is being used in the carpets and the plastic products, causes damage to our kidney and liver. Similarly, formaldehyde, which is being used in newly painted surfaces, furnitures, insulation materials, it is being used, formaldehyde, and leading to irritation of our eyes, throats, lungs, and dizziness problems. Even the chloroform is also being released. We don't even bother, or we don't give much focus on such kind of pollutants which are there in our houses. So if chlorine treated water is being feeded into the hot showers, then it will lead to formation of chloroform, leading to cancer in the long term. Similarly, one of the most important source of indoor air pollution in our houses is the use of the unvented gas stoves and the kerosene heaters. Even the LPG that we use in our houses also releases nitrogen oxides if your kitchen is not properly ventilated. We must use exhaust fan in our kitchen, especially during during the cooking or the deep frying activities, which is most common in India. We all like to eat up the deep frying materials because we give much more focus to the taste of the food rather than on the nutritional values. So during such activities, when the LPG also releases nitrogen oxides, which have to be vented out of your kitchen. So proper ventilation should be maintained. Then only we will be able to deal with such invisible indoor air pollutants. Otherwise, in long term, it is reducing the life expectancy of a particular person. Similarly, asbestos is being used in the pipe insulation, in the floor tiles, which these asbestos fibers, they are small enough to be respired by us, and in long term, it causes chronic pulmonary obstructive diseases, it causes lung fibrosis, and also even it causes lung cancer. So we have multiple pollutants in our houses also, that on which we need to focus also, not only all over the global air pollution, but in the indoor air pollution is one such phenomenon on which we must give focus. Next, please. Now, talking about the water pollution, I will not much focus on the in detail, but the major effects of water pollution due to the discharge of chemicals, sewage, due to discharge of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus containing fertilizers. Globally, the multiple effects have been seen, like for example, the infectious diseases which are being caused due to consumption of contaminated water, like some of the diseases is caused like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, hepatitis, etc. I would like to tell you that as per WHO, globally, around 1.1 billion person every year dies and suffer due to various infectious diseases due to consumption of contaminated water. Similarly, the eutrophication problems, which is the complete blocking of the sunlight in the water bodies, covering of the complete surface water bodies with the algal surface, leading to disruption of the entire aquatic ecosystem, is one such disastrous effect caused by especially the agricultural activities from the agricultural fields, the nitrogen and the phosphorus containing fertilizers. When they are used in excess quantity, they are being discharged into the water body, leading to eutrophication problems. Similarly, the plastics, the solid waste, even the nuclear or the radioactive waste which are being dumped in the aquatic bodies like sea and oceans is disrupting our marine life. Then if I talk about the various metallic and non-metallic toxicities caused by water pollutants, then it includes blue baby syndrome caused by excess of nitrates in the groundwater, fluorosis caused by excess of fluoride, Minamata disease by excess of methyl mercury in the water bodies, and Blackfoot disease caused by arsenic contamination in the water. See, in Rajasthan, we are suffering from three major water pollution problems. One is the excess of fluoride, especially in the area near the Tonk, Shivdaspura, and in the Sanganer area also. And even the nitrate concentrations are quite high in the groundwater of Rajasthan. So and third one is the salinity, excess salt concentration, TDS levels. These are the three important phenomena which are basically affecting the lives of person due to the consumption of untreated water, untreated groundwater. Next, please. Now, talking about soil and land pollution, soil, which is one of the important thing for us, which is having multiple functions. It is providing us food. It is leading to natural water purification. It is involved in the various biogeochemical cyclings of nutrients, climate regulation. We are deteriorating the soil environment with the discharge of pollutants in the form of pesticides, in the form of chemicals from industries, in the form of the solid waste that we are dumping in an inefficient manner. Open dumping is there. Discharge of the biomedical waste is being done by various clinics and the hospitals, on which the proper check is not being maintained. So such kind of soil and land pollution problems is leading to reduction in our crop production. It is leading to reduce in the buffering capacity of the soil. It is leading to a higher emission of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to global warming. And in long term, it is causing to land degradation and desertification. So if soil fertility will be lost, then it will be very difficult for us to have to increase the crop productivity. We are adding the pesticides, we are adding the fertilizers in order to have the crop production in an earliest possible manner, and in an we can say just to protect from the insects, just to protect our agricultural fields, and to earn profit in a very small time period. We are using such kind of chemicals, but in long term it is deteriorating our land surface. In long term it is leading to infertility. So the steps have to be taken as early as possible to control such kind of pollution problems. Next, please. Now, so far we have discussed the different types of pollution. Then I have been focused on some of the major impacts of pollution on our different environmental components. Now let us talk about how to prevent and how to control the pollution. See, these are two important terms which are sometimes used interchangeably. I would like to focus on the difference between the prevention and the control. So when we say pollution prevention, it means we are referring to any practice that deal with reducing the pollution at the source, that deals with avoiding the pollution to exist in the environment. Preventive, like we have always heard that prevention is better than cure. Similarly, with respect to pollution, prevention is better than control. You must try to reduce the emission of pollutant as much as possible. You must try to focus on such activities, or to focus on use of such resources that will not create or generate any kind of pollution. Once the pollutants have been emitted, then we need to focus on the control. Then we use series of methods, techniques, technologies, practices, policies to eliminate the emission of pollutants into the environment. So priority should be given that we must prevent it rather than focusing on control, because pollution control is not an economic process. We need to invest a huge amount of resources in terms of money, in terms of resources, in terms of labor to control the emission of pollutants, which is causing to degradation of our environment. Next, please. Now, if I simply take an example of an industry which is designing a car. So when we say pollution prevention, it is not a single step that can be taken just from the particular activity, but industry have to look at all the processes beginning from cradle to grave. They have to follow the cradle to grave approach. Means पालने से लेके कब्र तक हमें पूरा चेक करना है. We need to focus or what all activities are there that are leading to discharge of pollutants at different levels. Like for example, let's say while manufacturing a car, we need to extract first the resources, the minerals, metals have to be extracted. Now, when these metals will be extracted, it will not be in the pure form. It will be in the impure form, in the form of ores that needs to be extracted. Now, during extraction, we need to conduct the mining activities. Mining activities will lead to a discharge of solid waste, leading to land and soil pollution. It will raise to acid mine drainage, leading to water pollution, and also it will also lead to the emission of dust storms and during the blast activities for extraction of minerals, it will lead to air pollution also. Similarly, these once these ores have been extracted, they have to be refined, for which incineration is the most common approach that is being used by industries, that burn the ore at a very high temperature and we can have metals in the liquid form. But during this approach, it is leading to release of substances like sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. During manufacturing also, during there will be discharge of pollution. Even also, once the product have been formed, this product have to be delivered to the consumers or to the customers. During the transit also, there will be release of pollution. When the consumers will use it, there will be release of pollutants in different forms. And even when it is being used, when it is converted into a discarded form in a waste, it also leads to solid waste pollution problems. So this is the linear approach. Right now, what we are doing is that, what industries are doing is that extract the minerals, prepare or manufacture a particular product and throw it, dump it. That is the linear, we can say, approach that industries are focusing. But the aim of the industries should not be on the linear economy, the linear approach, but they should be focusing more on the circular approach. Let me give you an insight of important terms, circular and green economy. Next, please. Okay, so before we discuss about the circular and green economy, this is an hierarchy and approach being the ranking of the different approaches that we can use to prevent and control the pollution given by Environmental Protection Agency. So as you can see in this pyramid also, that pollution prevention, the source reduction is the foremost thing that will lead to preventing the pollution, that will lead to entering of the pollutant into the outer atmosphere. Focus on reducing first, then focus on reuse, then focus on recycle. These three important R's, reduction, reuse, and recycle, will help in preventing the entering of preventing the pollution, will help in protecting our resources, will help in cutting the cost of controlling the emission of pollutants. But if these three things have not been undertaken, then we need to focus on control, then we need to focus on treatment, and finally we have to dispose it. So treatment and disposal are less preferable or least preferable methods to control the air pollution. We must focus as much as possible on reduction, reuse, then recycling. If these steps have not been taken, or if it is not being possible for any reason, then only we must focus on treatment and disposal, because financially and they are not economically feasible also, and they are also not environmentally sustainable also. So focus should be there as much as possible on the reduction of pollutant at the source itself. Next, please. So for the pollution prevention and control, the circular economy approach can be adopted by the industries and by the other stakeholders that are releasing the different pollutants in the environment. You can see in this approach that once we have extracted the natural resources, we manufacture a particular product, we distribute it, we use it, and then we dispose it. But the disposal should be in a way that majority of the component, majority of the part, the resources can be reused, it can be recycled. Taking the example of solid waste management approach. So whatever resources that we are using, be it a metallic resource, be it a non-metallic resource, we, instead of directly dumping it in the environment, we must design tools and techniques, we must design approaches to reuse it as much as possible. It must be recycled, it must be remanufactured. Simply taking example of a mobile phone, usually what we do is that we buy a mobile phone from a company, we use it for 1 to 2 years, or maybe up to 3 years or 4 years, and simply we throw it in the dustbin once it gets older due to the various functionalities that might not be offered in that old phone. But that mobile phone, instead of directly dumping it in the backyard, instead of directly throwing it in your dustbin, you can place it, you can give it to the back to stores which are focusing on recycling of such electronic products. Nowadays, government is also focusing more on reuse, recycle, and remanufacturing approach, and it is also giving incentives to the industries which are following this kind of circular economy approach. Means it has to be in a loop, it has to be in a circular way. Nothing should be wasted as it is. We should not follow the linear approach. So green economy and circular economy will lead to or will prevent the burden on our natural resources. It will lead to more efficient utilization of our resources, and financial constraints will also be dealt in a much better way, much effective way, so as to prevent the environmental pollution problems also. Next, please. Now, we different approaches to control the pollution is by the citizens that we can take. We are pretty much aware that we must use afforestation activities, we must use public transport. So I will not be focusing much on such approaches, but I will be focusing on some effective prevention pollution or specific pollution prevention approaches that some of you might not know, or some of you might not have think of. So there are three important sectors where we can take these kind of approaches, where we can apply these approaches. One is the energy sector, the industrial sector, and the agricultural sector. Energy sector, because the most important part of, be it manufacturing of a particular product, be it human beings, be it industries, it is the requirement of energy that has to be fulfilled. So we are putting a lot of pressure on our resources, especially on the fossil fuel extraction, to basically fulfill the energy needs of the industries for the or of the human being. So in the energy sector, two approaches can be effectively adopted. One is use of eco-friendly fuel and energy sources, and second is we have to improve the utilization efficiency. Whatever energy that is available with us in different forms, that have to be improved in using some innovative approaches. So if I talk about eco-friendly fuel and energy sources, nowadays biodiesel, biofuels are available. CNG should be used. In Delhi, it has been made mandatory also for the auto rickshaws to fit their vehicles with the CNG operators. Solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, geothermal energy that we considered as a renewable sources of energy can be adopted to which are more efficient sources of energy, which are more eco-friendly techniques to prevent the burden on the different spheres of our environment. Similarly, electric vehicles can be used. We call them as EVs. Again, although now the citizens have also been aware and they are taking these kind of steps, they are voluntarily adopting the electric vehicles to prevent the pollution problems. So that is a very important, we can say, an positive approach by the citizens. So even government is giving the subsidies for to the persons who want to shift to electric vehicles. But one more important vehicle concept that have emerged is use of hydrogen vehicles, in which fuel cells are being used. So here, one of the benefit of using hydrogen vehicles is that even the exhaust from the hydrogen vehicles will be generating water. When it will be getting combusted, when the hydrogen will be getting combined with oxygen, the exhaust will be releasing water also. So one of the important resources is also being generated through these hydrogen vehicles. Even Toyota Mirai was the first hydrogen vehicle that was being launched in the year 2014, and now Hyundai in the year 2018 have also launched hydrogen vehicles. So slowly in the upcoming years, the focus will be there on such kind of vehicles which are more eco-friendly, which will be not creating burden or pressure on our natural resources, on our fossil fuels, petroleum products, etc. So second important approach should be the improving the efficiency, or improving the utilization of the available energy. So for that, what we can do, what citizens, what industries can do is that instead of buying any particular electronic devices like ACs or buying of refrigerators, we must see a label is always there on majority of the now appliances and equipments that we use. So the label is Energy Star certificate. So we must see that Energy Star label. So those products which are being designed in an effective manner to prevent pollution problems will be given higher rating. Even incandescent bulbs that we used even in rural areas that we use can be replaced with the LED lights. The street lights, the halogen lamps can be replaced with the solar cells also, solar lights also. And even there is a common upcoming approach is the designing of green buildings. Green buildings does not mean that it is being painted in green color or it is being totally covered with the plants, but green buildings are the specific structures designed in a way to utilize maximum energy to focus on the natural ventilation process, to focusing more on the natural lighting inside our homes. They are specific buildings being constructed which do not need any kind of installation of ACs, which will be not be needing any kind of installation of the electric heaters, and even light consumption, electricity light consumption in these buildings will be very low. They are designed in a very efficient manner. Similarly, in industrial sector, there are different approaches that that can be adopted, like the raw materials can be substituted, the process, the manufacturing process can be modified. Like for example, when I told you about the most important step in manufacturing of a product is first extraction of the ores, first extraction of the minerals. Once the minerals have been extracted, these are impure form of metals. We need to purify it with the help of incineration or other activities. But there is another approach which is more eco-friendly. One is bioleaching. Bioleaching, basically we are using the microorganisms for extraction of metals from the ores in a soluble form. So this bioleaching is using natural microorganisms which are occurring in our soil. One such microbe is Thiobacillus thioxidans and Thiobacillus peroxidans, which so use of such techniques like bioleaching will not create much acid mine drainage, and in long term they are less costly also, and they are more environmentally friendly techniques also for purification of the ores. Similarly, the cement industry, which is creating a lot of pressure on the atmosphere, they are now also focusing on the use of the various byproducts consisting of the calcium and the calcium, magnesium, and the iron waste from the different industries for purification of limestone. Because when cement has to be formed, it has to be it will be formed from the purification of limestone, which releases a lot of carbon dioxide. So instead of that, the raw material that have already been there, the byproducts which are already been available, can be purified instead of extracting new resources. Another device is catalytic converters, which are now being installed in the vehicles. These catalytic converters help in efficient control of emissions of carbon monoxide, as well as they help in emission control of nitrogen oxide also. So industries, while designing the new transportation vehicles, they must install such kind of catalytic converters. Similarly, if these steps have already been taken by industries, or if they are not sufficient enough to control the pollutants, then they should focus on installation of various pollution control equipments. Like for particulate matter control, they can install cyclones, bag filters, wet scrubbers, electrostatic precipitators, and also for controlling the water pollutants from their premises, they have to divert their waste to ETPs, effluent treatment plants, that commonly we call it as CETP, common effluent treatment plants, where the industries divert their waste, liquid waste, for treating them before it is being discharged into the surface water bodies. And also the water conservation and other energy conservation practices must be adopted by the industries. They must focus on dual pumping system. They must focus on low water pressure taps, and they also must reduce, must change the process so as to reduce burden of the water being used for the cooling purpose, because the cooling water when it is being used, the water when it is being used for cooling purpose in industries, it is directly discharged by industries into the surrounding water body, leading to thermal pollution. So that has to be controlled. Then in case of agricultural sectors, we can reduce the use of water and chemical inputs, like water salinity and water logging problems can be reduced by installation of efficient irrigation systems. One such irrigation system is drip irrigation, and even new approaches have emerged in our day-to-day life in the agricultural sector. One such is aquaponics. Aquaponics means the crop cultivation along with the fish culture, aquaculture. In the same area, the fish are being habitat for fish is being provided along with the crop production. So that reduces the demand for the fertilizers, and that reduces the that does not need the soil also for cultivation of crops. Similarly, environmental friendly approaches, practices may be adopted to deal with the pest problems in the agricultural sector. Like there is a concept of integrated pest management approach, which mainly focus on suppression of pests rather than killing them, in which various physical, mechanical, cultural, or we can say the biological approaches are being used instead of focusing on chemical pesticides to deal with the pest. Similarly, composting, vermicomposting processes can be done. Even composting and vermicomposting can be done by any citizen in their home also in a much effective way to reduce the to deal with the various organic load on the organic pollutants which are directly discharged without any treatment in the surrounding soil environment. Similarly, biopesticides may be used. One such is the use of Bacillus thuringiensis bacterium for controlling the lepidopteran pest affecting the crop fields. Similarly, biofertilizers like azolla, cyanobacteria may be used for increased nutritional content of the soil without being adding the chemical agents. Next, please. Now, I will show you some of the innovative approaches adopted all across the world for dealing with the pollution problems. One such approach, there is in Italy, there is a city Milan where a vertical forest have been designed. This you can see there is a tower, the building, residential building is there, in which a vertical forest have been designed in such an innovative way that it consists of approximately 900 trees, 5,000 shrubs, and over 11,000 plants are planted on this single building, which is very efficient in controlling not only the surrounding air pollution, but the indoor air pollutants can also be trapped by these different trees and shrubs which are growing over such vertical towers. Similarly, one of the designer, Helen Story, and polymers chemist Tony Ryan in the UK have designed special detergent in which if we wash our clothes, there will be there is an use of an chemical titanium dioxide in trace quantities in the detergent, which will be stick once we wash our clothes in a detergent containing this titanium dioxide. The trace quantities of titanium dioxide will stick to these clothes, and that helps in entrapment of the various air pollutants. Even the buildings have also been designed in Italy. The research is going on, and some pilot studies have been conducted in which the entire building was coated with fibers on which titanium dioxide have been immobilized for controlling the air pollution. In the European cities, such pollution absorbing street furnitures have been designed. You can see in this picture, which consist of mosses that basically provide habitat for the various bacterium that will trap the air pollutants and that will carry out the decomposition of such pollutants once they suck these pollutants over the entire surface. So pollution absorbing street furnitures are being increased in the European cities. Such systems can be designed in India also and can be adopted so as to deal efficiently with the air pollution problems. There are n number of approaches which are available, but here I'm giving you just a basic idea, basic approaches that what kind of innovations have already been done across the world for dealing with the pollution problems. Next, please. Now, if I talk about an Indian perspective, two of the innovations that I came across, I would like to tell you that are very innovative to deal with the water pollution problems. That two engineering students of Kerala, Antopi Biju and Thomas Cyrek, belonging from the Kerala, have designed a very efficient organic water filter using the activated carbon process, which can even convert sewage water into drinkable water. Even BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, have approved their apparatus, have approved their device, and they have seen that using this kind of filter, even for the sewage, even for the sewerage water, is completely safe for drinking once it is being treated using these kind of filters. Even there is another initiative by Tarun Sebastian Nanda, who is an ecological engineer, and he has initiated or started an initiative named as Adopt an Island Initiative. He has started this in Delhi, in the Hoj Khas village, where he is using floating wetlands to make the water bodies pollutant free. These floating wetlands are absorbing the water pollutants from the surrounding lakes, and in turn they are enhancing value. They are providing aesthetic value, enhancing the aesthetic value, and providing a natural habitat for survival of the different the plants, as well as for different bacterial species which are efficient in controlling the pollution water pollutants. Next, please. Now, let us see what government has done for us. We always say that it is the duty of the government. It is the government have not done anything for us. The government is not taking steps. So let me tell you the various initiatives taken by our government of India for dealing with the various pollution problems. One such to deal with air pollution, a national clean air program have been launched by the government of India, which is not only providing guidelines for different pollutions, but is also focusing more on installation of monitoring stations, focusing on carrying out resource apportionment studies in which the different pollutants, their causes, their chemical characterizations will be studied. Even under this National Clean Air Program, 100 most polluting cities have been identified, for which specific city-specific action plan is being designed to deal or to abate the pollution problems. And even how public participation approaches can be integrated to such programs, such kind of policies, such kind of measures are also being incorporated in such programs. Similarly, I don't know how many of you know, but we have an app named as Sameer, which is being launched by Central Pollution Control Board. And this app basically provides you data, air quality index, AQI, of 100 cities of India. And even you can lodge your complaint against the various pollution activities in your city. If you notice something, you can even launch your complaint using this app. So a very efficient app which will be telling you the air quality index, which is a scale just like a thermometer. We see the temperature using this air quality index calculator. We can see the quality of the air in terms of good, satisfactory, moderate, poor, based on a value which ranging from 0 to 500, and this value is being calculated on the basis of the concentration of the pollutants in the atmosphere. The 8 major criteria pollutants are being considered, including the carbon monoxide, including lead, including ozone, including sulfur oxide, particulate matter 2.5, and PM. So another important initiatives taken by our government includes the National River Conservation Plan for preventing pollution of rivers, the National Lake Conservation Plan for restoration of our lakes and wetlands, Amrut, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. And this plan, this initiative is being taken up to ensure that tap water supply is there in every household, and a proper sewerage network is being installed. Even national afforestation programs and green skill development program have been designed, which is mainly focusing on increasing the employment to the youth and gain appropriate steps towards the conservation of forest. So one such program was Namami Gange program, which is a flagship program by Government of India, for which 20,000 crores rupees have been sanctioned for cleaning the one of the holiest river of our country, Ganga. And not only the initiatives, but legislative methods, legislations, or have also been, the various acts have also been uh, enacted by the government, like Water Pollution Prevention Act, Air Pollution Prevention Act, the Hazardous Waste Management Rules, which was being amended in 2016, E-Waste Management Rules, Construction and Demolition Waste, Municipal Solid Waste Management Rules 2016, and even in 2010, and body National Green Tribunal Act, National Green Tribunal was commissioned, whose main headquarter is in Delhi, which is mainly dealing with the court cases related especially to the environmental protection and uh, pollution prevention activities. So these are all different methods that have been adopted by legislation as well as by uh, the government of India. So I hope in the brief period of time I have been able to cover the things that are desired. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This was definitely a very detailed overview about pollution and the measures we can take for the prevention and control. I would now like to request Mr. Sher Singh to please give the vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Uh, Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Ashish Tambi, Assistant Professor, Department of Environmental Science, IIS University, Jaipur. Guest of Honor, Dr. O.P. Sharma ji, Director NCIDE, IGNOU. Senior Regional Director, Dr. Mamta Bhatia ma'am. Coordinators, students, my colleague, Dr. Indu Ravi, Dr. Pavan Kumar, Assistant Registrar, Jaipur. Good evening to all of you. It is great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chief Guest on the meaning of pollution, types of pollution, role of all of us in prevention of pollution. As we know, National Pollution Control Day is observed every year on 2nd December in India. The day is recognized to commemorate the precious lives that were lost in the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, one of the greatest industrial disasters in the history of India. The main aim and objective of celebrating the National Pollution Prevention Day 2020-22 in India is to create awareness among people at individual and at community and society level, national level, and international level. So we should look our role individually, community level, national and international level for prevention, the pollution control. On behalf of IGNOU Region Center Jaipur, I thank you, sir, from the bottom of my heart. Here, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the guest of honor of today, Dr. O.P. Sharma ji, Director NCIDE. Sir, your eminent presence has indeed made this event a memorable one, and we unitedly thank you for your concern in this regard. I'm also very thankful to all for their remarkable presence and constant motivation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sher Singh sir. Thank you for your kind words.
Sir, would you
Ashish Tambi ji,
Ji.
Yes, sir.
it was a very wonderful presentation that I could listen, and you have given lot of suggestions for innovation with examples. I think
you,
that
thank
was the need of this kind of presentation as far as innovation is concerned, because we all are concerned with the environmental issues, but thinking to find the innovative solution, that is more important.
Correct.
Because we are talking about that, but if we are able to think what is the solution for that problem, we know, but solution is more important. That you have highlighted very well in your presentation. So really we are thankful to you. It was excellent presentation that you have given, very
Thank you
nice,
so much, sir. Thank
and
you so much,
also
sir.
very uh, I would like to congratulate the regional center Jaipur also for organizing this very good program and inviting such a wonderful experienced expert to share this kind of innovative ideas and experiential learning, we can say it is. So thank you very much for also organizing this program to all of you.
Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaskar. sir.
Dr. Ashish, it was really wonderful and a great
Namaskar, sir.
experience.
Thank you, Mamta. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mamta madam is now innovation ambassador, so she is now doing like an ambassador. This is a kind of thing. So, and I want Hindu Raviji and Sher Singh ji also to come in this group of innovation ambassadors. If you are interested, we will nominate you. Then you can also be part of that.
Thank you very much,
Good
sir.
thing
Thank you, sir.
to be part of this kind of initiatives by others.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. Bharat.